Check us out over on patreon.com/workingfanspodcast. Hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know when we go live. While I was sitting in the garden, I had an interesting thought. And my first thought is favorite venues that we've seen wrestling in, stories from venues, because it was actually at the TD Garden that I believe we went to one of our first wrestling shows together.
Yeah, that would have been a WWE TLC. I believe you're speaking of the one where we met a gentleman called Grasshopper on the way home on Subway, if that's the event you're thinking of.
Yeah, that's the one where we sat at like the very top of the garden, right?
Yeah, we might even did we have a suite? Were we like in a box?
I don't know if we were necessarily in a box because it seemed like a big area you could walk around up top. It might have been a suite that had like a little area.
That's funny because our mutual friend invited me because I think somebody fell out that day and I had invited him to some MMA stuff. And so that was very in the early stages of us meeting. French, I don't know, like maybe I met you once or twice prior. That is very early on. We're talking.
Yeah, because I remember we were discussing fandom because I was like just getting into it. And I can't remember if you were coming off of a short break on it, but like
December.
You were talking about how you had been a fan way back and you had gone to some shows up here with AJ.
December of 2015, it was TLC. What I remember mostly was the New Day taking on Lucha House Party. Thank you. I was going to say Lucha Express. I couldn't remember, but yes, the Lucha House Party. And there was that frigging like cutter into like the sit down power bomb thing where they were like the sliced bread, off the ladder, and it was just insane. And that's what I always remember because it was the first time I ever saw that move.
Yeah, and that was the height of, I think, New Day. Or maybe they were just taking off, but like they were like, it was when they were just starting to get that fan favorite thing going, coming off of the booze.
Yeah, but they were getting so popular. But yeah, that was a good time. I liked the TD Garden, the old Boston Garden. I think I got to go to one, maybe not. I don't know, WrestleMania 14. If it was TD or Boston, that's where I was at. Great experience.
I'm trying to think if it was Boston Garden or Fleet Center at that point.
Oh, I think it was Fleet Center, actually, Joe. Yeah, 98. Yeah. So.
Yeah, because I remember it was like the Garden for forever. And then it did some time as the Fleet Center. And I feel like it might have been that around that time.
I didn't necessarily have the greatest experience, but I do like the fact that I've been to MSG. I did get to go to Madison Square Garden once. So that is definitely like a checklist, like I got to do that in my life.
What event did you get to go there for?
SummerSlam 98. It was also 98, big year.
Oh, that wasn't the greatest experience because you guys went there in the school bus, right?
Yeah, the school bus, yeah. The guy who's a big wrestling fan around here, who their family has like a funeral parlor. He rented a bunch of school buses. I don't know if he was friends with people in school or what, but he got a bunch of kids and everybody to go, which is really cool. But obviously, it was kind of a tough ride when some of those people are like grown adults and we're fitting like 3-4 people to a seat, but hey, I'm sure it was super expensive. So it was great of him to pull that off. But obviously, I remember. And then the bus driver, I remember falling asleep on our bus on the way home.
Oh, wow.
While driving.
That's got to be nice. I've been to Madison Square Garden a couple times. It feels so good getting in there because like the history of the place. There was the one time I got to go there for Jericho's not retirement, but 25th anniversary show. And that was pretty cool. And then obviously going there for the G1 in America, the G1 special, where Matt Taven won the ROH title.
I got a question for you. This is kind of a little bit different, but I'm just curious. When you watch wrestling on TV, do you have like a favorite crowd? Like, do you ever notice crowds? Like, I notice crowds sometimes where you're like, oh, this is going to be a fun show because these guys are crazy.
Oh, not so much. I mean, we noticed it. Was it France or Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico.
Like in the last couple of years that we really mentioned it.
The one with the Bad Bunny. The crowd was super. Yeah, I like that show. The international crowds are great, but I guess I meant stateside. Like, I know Chicago, like Elimination Chamber is going to be in Chicago. I think
we've talked about this on an early episode where Chicago crowds are great.
Yeah. Canadian crowds are usually great too.
Yeah, obviously the foreign crowds because they don't get wrestling as much, so it's like when you get it in front of them. One thing I really liked, speaking of talking about crowds, and we're going all over the place around this idea, but I was watching AAA the other weekend, and I was liking how the AAA crowd still look like a traditional crowd. You have a bunch of kids, you got old people sitting with the kids. It's great. I was actually talking to a guy that works at Labella in Montville, and I hadn't seen him for a while. And whenever I see him, we talk wrestling. And that was one thing I asked him. I'm like, so you still like you keeping up with things? He's like, yeah, I keep up with things. And then I brought up AAA and he popped. He goes, oh man, I watch that every week. He's like, I love watching it. He's like, it's a nice short watch. It's always a good show. And I was thinking that was it's all those little elements that add to it, like whatever arena they hold it in down there. The makeup of the crowd also helps as well.
It's great on YouTube because if there's a lot going on a Saturday night, I may forget about it, but I wake up and it's in my feed on YouTube the next morning. I'm like, oh, perfect. I'll go check that out. So even if I'm doing stuff for the podcast, like I know, like, oh, there's Triple A.
Yeah, I had missed the last couple of weeks. So last week when I was doing something, I put it on and I caught up on a couple episodes.
Yeah.
It's great to see that Americano feud working its way out down there. It's cool to see the mix of like the War Raiders with their tag teams down there and how they fit in.
It's cool to see some people I haven't seen in a while. Like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, they had TJP was on there. He won like a 4-way elimination for like a shot at a cruiserweight title. And then I'm seeing Jack Cartwheel more and more. And then, you got like still the newest version of the Parka. And so it's like all this nice
Apollo Crews, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Apollo Crews down there. Yeah. So it's like you have this blend of WWE talent with also this, guys who are strong on the independents. On top of that, you have your traditional, Mexican talent as well. So it's kind of a nice blend. And like you said, you're getting it anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour and 20 minutes, it seems like.
Yeah, and like I was really skeptical of the Undertaker booking down there at first, but like so far it seemed enjoyable and it's keeping enough of its own identity where it doesn't feel like it's getting Americanized too hard. I mean, I know it is, it's obvious, but like it still keeps some of its own identity, which I enjoy. Looping back around to venues, what are some of your other venues that you like going to? Like I really like that auditorium in Lowell, the Memorial.
Good call.
Just the way it's like a nice round one. Classic Raws have been there. Just the look of it stands out.
Can't say that there's anything I've really enjoyed that I've personally been to. Like I've enjoyed some shows. I enjoyed the fact I got to go to Boston and New York to see shows. But other than that, we don't have anything here that sticks out to me. The Lowell Memorial Auditorium that you talked about.
Shut your fucking mouth, man. You know the fucking Ledyard Middle School. OWR stomping grounds. They let us behind the scenes.
I do have a blast going to that, but that's not so much the venue. God bless. But like, I'll bring it back to this watching stuff, right? What I enjoy, venues that have stuck out to me over the last years, and I think you're going to get this right away, are two of them. And it's actually AEW. I'll give them the credit for this. The Arthur Ashe Stadium, when they were doing the Grand Slam shows. I love to look at that. And
that pops on TV.
Daly's Place. When they're at Daly's Place, I always like to look at that.
Yeah, that really does stand out too. I really like Daly's Place in the beginning. Yeah. Like that's why I didn't have a problem with a lot of the pandemic wrestling because I'm like, if we do all these shows at Daly's Place, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I had a chance to go to Arthur Ashe Stadium. I'm kind of not upset, but like it would have been cool to do that just to see it.
One thing I liked when I was younger was, and this is not so much maybe about the venue, but you talk about just the look of places, was when WCW used to do the Clash of Champions and you used to first see that ramp, that long ramp, and then the wrestlers would incorporate that ramp and stuff. That popped to me as a kid.
Yeah, especially when they'd throw people off the ramp.
It's great shit.
I'm trying to think what else. Venue wise, an outdoor stadium always pops.
Yeah,
but it's a small return because the Road Wilds, that's cool because it looks different, but it can't be fun to do. Same thing with like the ring they set up at the beach. Beyond Wrestling does that good the few times they've done that.